Many species of bird migrate twice a year, in the spring and fall. They move from one locality to another, from wintering grounds to breeding grounds in the spring, and back again in the fall. Many questions about migration remain unanswered. What are the birds' stopover habitats, and how do they use these sites? What are the patterns and paths of migration? How are populations affected by deforestation, habitat destruction, and urbanization? At Powder Mill, we're working to unravel the mystery of migration. One of the ways ornithologists learn about bird populations and their seasonal journeys is by bird banding. Early in the mornings, special mist nets, which have been placed around the ponds and in the fields and woods of the study area, are opened. The nets are of a fine material that is invisible to flying birds and so create a safe way to capture them for banding. Once caught in a soft pocket of net, each bird is gently extracted by trained staff, placed in a paper bag, and immediately taken to the lab where it is banded with a serially numbered small aluminum bracelet. Each band, supplied and tracked by the Biological Division of the U.S. Geological Survey, bears a unique number so that every bird banded anywhere in the United States carries its own distinct ID. The bird bander identifies the bird, in this case a hooded warbler, its age and sex, this is an immature female, and takes morphological measurements. Records the data, then carefully releases the bird back into the wild. This map shows where the birds banded at Powder Mill have been recovered over the past half-century. We know that songbirds forage for food during the day and migrate mostly at night. The notes you are hearing are the flight calls of thousands of birds recorded during one night at Powder Mill. During peak migration seasons, additional data is collected for study in the bioacoustics lab. Here, a captured migrant that has just been banded moments before is placed in an acoustic cone where its flight call is recorded and stored in a giant database. When the bird is released, another recording of its flight call is taken. These sounds, unique to each species, are translated by computer software and can be read on a spectrogram such as this one of a yellow warbler. This information can be used to compare the data on bird migration, which is collected every night by microphones mounted high atop towers at several locations on the reserve. Long-term banding data and bioacoustic data show fluctuations in population numbers and can show long-term increases or decreases in population numbers. By studying the species that are banded in the mornings and the species that migrate at night, scientists can draw conclusions that lead to better conservation practices and that will benefit birds and humans. These study techniques work well for smaller songbirds like these warblers. But how do we gather information about larger birds, such as this golden eagle? Telemetry is one way to track the movements of raptors. Here, an eagle is fitted with a small backpack that contains a solar-powered tracking unit. The bird is banded and harmlessly released. The tracking device provides information to the GIS lab, where maps are created to track the bird's flight pattern along ridges of the Allegheny Mountains. This is important for knowing where eagles and other birds might be most at risk from wind energy and other development. Scientists use a variety of methods to answer questions about seasonal movements of birds. Where do they stop to eat? How does weather affect them? What is the quality of their winter habitat, and how does it affect their breeding success? By studying migration, we can learn optimal habitat for birds' survival, which contributes to good decision-making by conservationists. For more information, please visit our website at www.powdermill.org.